So the next topic is invoice verification. Invoice verification. So what is an invoice? So invoice is a document sent by the supplier to the buyer for the payment. Invoice is a document sent by the supplier to the buyer for the payment. So if you want to create an invoice, first of all we need to create a PO and GR. So we'll see. So first we create a purchase order. Create GR. Up to here we have seen. Now to create invoice, the transaction code is MIRO. Miro. So here in the basic data tab, enter invoice date and posting date, tax code 0i, enter the PO number, press enter. So here it displays the balance amount. This balance amount enter here in the amount column. So the balance will become 0. Save. To display invoice document, MIR4, enter the invoice document number and fiscal year. Enter invoice document number and fiscal year. Click on follow on documents. Click on document number. So accounting document is generated. Go back. I will double click on the PO number. So system displays the purchase order in the header level. Status: ordered, delivered, invoiced. And in item details, PO history, it displays your GR as well as IR. goods receipt and invoice receipt. Next, cancel invoice document MR8M. Entire invoice document, fiscal year and reversal reason 01, reversal in current period. Say. So for cancellation also invoice document number is correct. Next, to block invoice document. So go to the transaction code MIRO, invoice date, posting date, tax code, and PO number, enter. What are the amount it displays? Enter in the amount. So to block the invoice document, in the payment tab, payment block, block for the payment. In the payment tab, in the payment block, block for the payment. So invoice document created and it displays block for the payment. Now we need to release the invoice. To release block invoice, the transaction code is MRBR. Company code, invoice document, fiscal year. Manual payment block. Select the line item and click on release invoice. Save. So invoice as is released. Next, invoice reduction. Invoice reduction. Create a PO. Create GR. Now create invoice document. Invoice date, posting date, tax code, PO number. Right side at the bottom in the layout, you select the option invoice reduction. So in the item details, you will get an option called correction indicator. Here you select the option reduce invoice. So this is amount 1000 you need to pay. I will reduce to 900. Press enter. So amount reduced in invoice is now 100. But in amount column, whatever the amount it displays in the balance, that amount should be entered. But system will consider this amount once you save the invoice document. So if you go to display PO, in the header level, in the status tab, you can see amount is 900. Even in the item details also, it displays invoice is now 900. So next is Parking invoice. Parking invoice means to hold the invoice for the payment. Whenever the material is still under quality inspection, if it has to be approved, still until then the invoice is parked. Parked invoice is nothing but holding the invoice for the payment. First create a purchase order. Create a goods receipt. And create parking invoice MIR7, invoice date, posting date, tax code, the PO number, and click on save as completed. So for parking invoice the transaction code is MIR7. If you go to purchase order display, in the header level, in the status, the invoice details will not update. But in item details, in the PO history, is separated displays as parked invoice. It displays as parked invoice. So next is ERS. ERS stands for Evaluated Receipt Settlement. So the function of the ERS is invoice is settled automatically to the vendor with reference to PO and GR. No need to create an invoice, provided if you maintain the following parameters in the vendor master. So what are the following parameters you need to maintain? So for that I will go to change vendor master XK02. I will go to the transaction code XK02, change vendor, vendor company code purchasing organization, and in the bottom activate purchasing data. Vendor company code purchasing organization and active purchasing data. Press enter. Terms of payment 0002, and here you activate GR based invoice verification, automatic errors, automatic errors returns. Save. Create a purchase order. So in item details, in the invoice tab, maintain tax code, activate GR based invoice verification, activate ERS. So this ERS option you'll get only when you activate ERS to the vendor master. Otherwise it will not display. As usual, create a GR. Execute ERS, MRRL. Enter the company code, plant, fiscal year, vendor. Deactivate test run. Execute. So here the system displays 4 documents, that is purchase order, reference document is into GR, invoice document is nothing but your invoice, FI document, that is accounting document. So you can see all the 4 documents, PO, GR, IR as well as financial document. So there is a concept of ERS. Next is subsequent debit. So subsequent debit means after the creation of the invoice, after doing the payment to the vendor, an extra amount to be paid, that will be done through subsequent debit. So subsequent debit is defined as debiting of amount to other cost to one or more business transactions which are previously posted. Debiting of amounts to other cost to one or more business transactions which are previously posted is called a subsequent debit. In subsequent debit, the vendor is paid more than the PO price. Now, for example, now here you have ordered the material, GR is done, invoice is also done as per the PO price. Now, after the invoice, an extra amount has to be paid. So, for that, we create a subsequent debit. So, first is you need to create a PO, GR, IR. The fourth step will be subsequent debit, MIRO. Same transaction code. Invoice date, posting date, tax code, PO number, and in the transaction, you select the option subsequent debit. And it displays the quantity, but not amount. Enter the amount, and the same amount you enter here. Save. Document is created. Now I can go to display PO. Now here instead of 1000 it displays 1100. Not only this, in item details, PO history, it displays subsequent debit of so and so quantity and price. So next is subsequent credit. So subsequent credit is a reduction of amount to other cost to one or more business transactions which are previously posted. A reduction of amount to other cost to one or more business transactions which are previously debited or posted is called subsequent credit. In subsequent credit, the vendor is paid less than the PO price. So it is also called as invoice reduction. So same steps, PO, GR, IR. After that, again you go to MIRO, invoice date, posting date, tax code, to PO number and all. In the transaction select subsequent credit. Enter the amount. Whatever the amount you enter, enter here. See. If you go to head 11, it displays 900. Next is credit memo. What is this credit memo? Now see here. If you go to display PO, ordered, delivered, invoiced. After the invoice, after the doing the payment, some partial quantity will be sent back to the vendor. For that much of quantity and the value, we will issue the credit memo to the supplier. So credit memo is a posting that reduces the balances of receivables and payables. That is called a credit memo. So first is you need to create a PO, GR, IR. After that, again create a GR for partial delivery, for return delivery to vendor with the moment type 122. In item details, in the quantity tab, inch of 10, 5. In the weight tab, enter the reason for moment. Item okay. So now if you go to purchase or display, if you refresh, now see what is the status of your order is 10 pieces, delivery is 5, still to delivery is 5, but your invoice displaying as 10 pieces. So fifth step, create a credit memo, MIRO. Only the thing is, in the transaction, you need to select credit memo, and in item details, we'll change the amount and also the quantity. Again, enter the amount here. So then again, if you go to PO display, it displays a invoice. So next is maintain GRIR clearing account. So any pending GRs and IRs are not cleared, then we'll maintain this GRIR clearing account. Any pending goods receipts, any pending invoice are not cleared for the purchase orders, so those are done, those are cleared through GRIR clearing account. So create a GR, create a PO, create a GR for partial quantity. Now create invoice as per the PO content the price. As per the PO content the price. Now there is a difference between GR and AR. So for that, we'll use the transaction code MR11. Company code, posting date, invoice surplus, remove this percentage, execute. So whatever the purchase order differences are there, it will display. So select other POs. Click on post view. That's it. Now next is invoice for planned delivery cost and unplanned delivery cost. So planned delivery cost is the delivery cost which is maintained in the purchase order only by maintaining the condition type FRA1, that is freight condition type. And unplanned delivery cost is the additional cost irrespective of the actual material purchased, which is maintained only at the time of creation of invoice. So first, as usual, create a PO. So in the item details, in the conditions tab, without fail, make sure that the condition type FRA1 should be maintained. Then create a GR. Then create invoice. In invoice, here above the layout you have three options. Suppose if it is goods or service items, system will settle only the net price of the PO. Suppose if you select planned delivery cost, it will settle only freight charges. Suppose if you select this one, it will settle both prices. So I will take planned delivery cost, enter. So it displays only the balance amount, that is the freight charges. And these freight charges you want to pay to some other vendor instead of the order vendor. Even in the invoice also you can change the supplier. In the details tab, invoicing part, remove this vendor and you can enter whichever the vendor you want to pay the payment. Press enter. Save. So unplanned is additional cost irrespective of the actual material purchase. So again, goods service items, enter. So 960 euros has to be paid. Unplanned delivery cost is there. In the details tab, enter the unplanned delivery cost. For example, 40 euros. Now this balance amount will become now 1000. Again, this amount should be maintained out here. Even this net price and unplanned you want to pay to some other vendor. So here remove this order vendor, enter another vendor. So like this you can change the supplier also. So like this you can do planned delivery cost and unplanned delivery cost invoice receipt. So these are the scenarios that comes under invoice verification. Finally, to display list of invoice documents, MIR5. This transaction code in older version is not available. It came into existence from the newer versions which are available in the market. Previously, we don't have this transaction code directly to display list of invoice documents. Now we have, that is MIR5. So next, we'll start the integrations. How the integration, how the module is integrated with other modules. And this is the first one we'll see integration with QM, quality management.